Welcome back to Chatapalooza 2012. This is the Black and African American community discussion. My name is Clark Moore, and I'm a 13 at Dartmouth, which means I'm a junior, and I'm majoring in history modified with art history in theater. And I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and on campus I'm a member of the Dartmouth Airs, Sugar Plum, which is a dance group, and I work here in admissions.
Hi, my name is Danielle Moore. I'm a 15 here at Dartmouth College, which means I'm a freshman. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm planning on majoring in engineering with a minor in anthropology. And on campus, I'm involved in club basketball, a leadership diversity program, and Christian Union.
Hi, I'm Aaron Colston. I'm a 14, which means I'm a sophomore at Dartmouth. I'm studying English and education, and I'm involved in the Men of Color Alliance and the Afro-American Society. And that's about it. I think that's, did I say everything?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Cool.
I'm so happy to be here today. We're so excited to see all these fresh faces who are about to come to Dartmouth. It's a very exciting time for us. This is a chance for you to ask us questions, so feel free to post questions on the chat, and we'll answer them. I mean, you can really ask us anything. The topic here is the Black and African American community, but you can ask us anything from where to get your hair done or cut, all the way to what classes you might want to take in the AAAS department or in the philosophy department. Who knows? So you were saying that you do Men of Color Alliance. What is that?
Well, it's just an organization that supports men of color here on campus. Part of it is really just to make the campus feel like home, maybe more like your barbershop or more like your uncle's house. Barbershop, inner city barbershop, LA. Yeah. What's up, B? What's up, Elgin? In case I have to show this on YouTube. And so that's really what it is. We want this place to more signify the diverse community that it is, and that's what Men of Color Alliance does.
Sure. So what kind of things, what kind of events do you guys do?
Right. Well, we do part community service, part academic workshops. I mean, part of it is also networking, helping new students, upperclassmen, really get to know professors and faculty and staff. Part of it is just hanging out, just getting to know your fellow people of color, and not just like men of color like allowed to be part of the organization. Sure. Like it's got to be inclusive, right? And so that's always open. That's always something we welcome.
Good. So we have a question from iFabugal. What clubs and activities are available for the African American community? That's a really great question. We just heard a little bit about Men of Color Alliance. Do you want to talk about some?
Yeah, I think, all the clubs and activities on campus are available for the community, but amongst ourselves, we do have different groups like MOCA and WALK, which is the Women of Color Association.
Women of Color Collective,
excuse me. No. And we also have different groups. Every other Monday, we have general body meetings, which is just a time for the community to come together and talk about different topics varying from social media to things going on campus. And among those are different groups, so there's community service board, social groups, and things like that.
Sure. And I think that's a really great way you talk about the community is a really great point to make because for me, when I chose to come to Dartmouth, people always ask me, like, how did you choose New Hampshire? Like, of all places.
Yeah,
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, which is like the blackest city in the country. And like, people are always asking, how did you find Dartmouth in New Hampshire? And I think for me, I've had such a great time just like in experiencing the diversity that really is here. One of the reasons that I chose to come to Dartmouth was because in my class, the class of 2013, 44% of the admitted students were non-white, which I thought was just absolutely astonishing, especially for a school like Dartmouth, which has this reputation, at least within the Black community in Atlanta, of being this more conservative, more white school, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not what I found. When I came here, I found that it's much more diverse. So I think that point about people really having opportunities to do all different types of things. There are cultural specific groups, performance groups, or like groups out of Qatar Shabazz, the African American Affinity House. And then there are also just every other group that anyone can be a part of. So that's a really great question. There's a link to the AM website, which you guys should check out. It gives all the information about like what the African American Society at Dartmouth does. And we have a question from Ozzy. How dynamic and outspoken is the African American community? This is a good question.
That's a really good question.
What do you guys have to say?
Oh, trust me. In light of recent events, we are quite dynamic and outspoken.
With the
Trayvon Martin case. Exactly, the Trayvon Martin case. We organized a little, not little, but a visual protest, because of our dissatisfaction with the way the Trayvon Martin case is being handled. And I think that was really a great opportunity to sort of gather together. So many people came to talk about Trayvon and to do the
to
picture,
do the hoodie picture,
right, the hoodie protest picture. So I'm really glad to see that sort of dynamism and outspokenness in the community.
Sure. And there's another project for Trayvon Martin that's currently in production. So keep a lookout for that.
Nice.
It's supposed to come out next week, so that's really exciting.
Oh yeah, exactly.
There's another question from Mar94. Hi, my family is from West Africa, and I'd like to know how big the African population is at Dartmouth. It's a really good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. I don't know the exact numbers on that, but I mean, the African population is pretty large here, and I think a lot of people are involved in the international community when it comes to that, as well as the African American society.
Sure. That was one of the things that I realized when I came to Dartmouth was the difference between the African community and the African American community, just as a general concept. And I think that I was also really surprised at the number of African students from African countries here. I mean, the international population at Dartmouth is very high in general.
Exactly.
So that's a really good question. International Student Association and Students for Africa is a student group which just won the 2012 Social Justice Awards at Dartmouth this winter. So that's a really cool thing about that. And they do a lot of work with West African students. So that's really exciting. If you guys have any more questions, these are really great questions. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
So what made you guys choose Dartmouth?
Okay, well, I'm from Los Angeles, California again. I've always wanted to go to a small college town community on the East Coast. And so when I came to visit here, the campus was so welcoming, and I just felt like I could see myself being here. There's tons of resources and opportunities. So.
Yeah, sure. What kind of opportunities have you tried to take advantage of?
Well, actually, next winter I'm going to be going to New Zealand for the anthropology foreign study program. So that's just one of the many that have come my way so far.
That's wonderful.
And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have heard, if you've been watching other Chatapalooza events today, about foreign study programs. We have 43 study abroad programs. We have the most in the Ivy League, which is something we can be proud of.
Exactly.
And I did a couple, and every student kind of tries to figure out how to fit study abroad in. So that's really great that you're taking advantage of that opportunity. We have another question from iFappy Gal. Where can a sister get her hair done in Hanover, New Hampshire?
I must say, I love that
question. I knew it was coming. Do you want to answer this one?
Yeah, I'll answer this. Okay, I believe most people actually get their hair done on campus. There are like upperclassmen who do hair on campus. I personally get my twists done at home before coming, but if I need to get them touched up, I know who I can contact. And if you don't know, you can just ask somebody and they will let you know what's happening. If you need to get a press, twist, braids, anything, somebody will hook you up. So.
Yeah. This wasn't a thing that I really cared about until I grew my hair out and started doing this press and curl. But I also get my hair done at home before I come, and then when I get here, it's more just maintenance.
Yeah.
And it's really not that hard. If you need a trim, someone can help you out. Yeah. And then also the AM brings up barbers and hairstylists.
Yeah, and I'd like to reiterate that if you really need your haircut, there are guys who cut.
Chop shop.
Right, yeah, there's a chop shop, there's a couple football players who do it. It might not be like home, but it's actually, they do some pretty good work. I gotta admit, I like this cut actually.
Yeah, it's a nice one, it's fresh.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, but you'll figure that out, and all the upperclassmen will help you out. So we have a question from Kevin G. Hi, I was reading about a lot of racism at Dartmouth in the D. Does that happen, and what do students do to respond? So first of all, the D, for those of you who don't know, that stands for the Dartmouth, which is our student It's the oldest college newspaper in America, founded in 1799. But yeah, that's a really great. It's a really great question. It was an op-ed that was written about this winter, or written about this in the winter. Do you guys want to talk to this?
Right. Well, I mean, if we're gonna be honest about racism, it's a nationwide, maybe even global phenomenon. And when it appears in the D, on your own college campus, yeah, it's kind of rough. But I assure you, we respond. The second, an op-ed that's clearly racist or might seem racist,
there's a discussion.
There's always a discussion happening. So I would always want to encourage you to think about racism as something that gets engaged with in discussion, nobody likes it and no one wants to tolerate it. And so we talk about it,
And the society really is a great support system, like just if you need to talk about it and let out feelings when you may not think somebody else may understand, there is somebody.
Yeah. I think that's something that's really important about Dartmouth in general is that there are a lot of problems with Dartmouth. There are a lot of problems with any school or organization or community. And I think what's unique about Dartmouth with those problems is that we recognize that they exist and we don't like sweep them under the rug and just kind of like pretend like it's this perfect school where nothing goes wrong. We have an active dialogue around that. There's an educational growth that we take these as opportunities to have an academic dialogue from this. So that's a really great question. So that's a really great question. So yeah, do you want to talk about anything else that you like about Dartmouth?
Okay. I'm involved in club basketball, and that's something I really enjoy. I played basketball since I was a little kid, and coming here, club basketball is basically an organization under varsity level, and we meet about 2 to 3 times a week practicing, and we play other club teams from other schools. And this next weekend, we're actually going to Princeton for a tournament. And we've hosted our own tournament here as well. So it's just nice to be able to have a team if you had something like that in high school and you're not par level for varsity here.
Yeah. Did you play in high school?
Yes, as well.
That's nice. Very nice.
Wow, cool.
So we have a question from Christiana. Do any of you have work-study jobs? If so, how easy was it to obtain these jobs? And how do you balance time between classes, studying, extracurricular, and work? That's a really great question, Christiana. Do either of you want to take it?
Okay, I don't have a work-study job, but I do have an internship, which is very, I guess, similar. I get paid for it. So it's a part of the Women in Science project. And I mean, it's not too hard to balance. I work about 8 to 10 hours a week. And I mean, you're not in class really that much. Last term, I only had class 3 times a week. So I would work Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then afternoons and nights is when homework time would come. And you calendar. You have to calendar. I never calendared in high school. But here, it's important to plan when all of your meetings are and everything. So with that, it's not too hard, I don't think.
Yeah, I have a job here. I'm an intern here. Again, I don't do work study either. I think work study is a very broad term that people use. But I think most people that you meet here would probably say that they have an internship on campus or a job, paid internship, or doing research. I work here in the office. I work here in the admissions office. So I'm excited to plan Dimensions for all of you who are going to be coming up. It's very exciting.
It's so much fun.
It's the best weekend ever. It's what helped me decide about Dartmouth. So I work here, and I've also done research in the past with professors. So I think the thing about Dartmouth is that the opportunities are there. You just have to seek them out. It's kind of the same with any college. Is that no one's going to come to your door and say like, here's a job, like here's some money, come work for me. But if you want to find those opportunities, they're definitely there to be had. I actually got my job here. I started working in the admissions before I matriculated to Dartmouth. I emailed my admissions officer that I met, the admissions rep that came down to Atlanta. And it was so funny. I sent her a headshot, and I was like, "I'm really nice, and I can work at the front desk, and I'm really pretty. Here's my face." And she gave me a job in the front desk, which was really nice. And ever since then, I've been working here. Now I worked my way up the ladder, and now I'm a little intern. It's cute.
Right.
So,
but if you are looking for like work study opportunities, like I can tell you, there's plenty of resources you can use. One of my close friends actually does have a work study job, at Novak, and it's just inspiring to see just like how he's hustling with class, he's hustling with work, and so I assure you, you will find an opportunity to work and study, and balance those two.
Yeah, Novak is the cafe and the library down at the bottom.
Right,
it's 24 hours. Well, the space is not the cafe.
Right.
But that's actually a really good point. Both of you make a really good point that everyone who's deciding on college, wherever you decide to go, balance, is just kind of the name of the game. Freshman fall for me was a difficult time.
Yes,
And the thing for me that I found was the hardest was not going to class, not doing work. It was finding time to do my laundry. Of all things.
I went 3 weeks without doing my laundry one time, and my friends finally got on me about it.
Right.
Because I was wearing some interesting clothing.
Yeah.
But
well, it's because you think like I could be like reading right now, or like I could be going to this meeting, or like, but you just have to start figuring out ways to like calendar your life and make it a schedule that you adhere to, and then everything becomes much easier as you get older.
Right. Just wherever you go to college, do your laundry, please.
It's important. Stephanie77 asks, is there an African American Christian community at Dartmouth? That's a really great question. Didn't you say you're involved with?
Yes, well, there is Morning Glory, which happens every Sunday. It's a church service, and there are 4 different preachers that volunteer to come up every week, and they bring their families with them. It's a fairly small community, but it is enjoyable if that's something you're looking for. And there's also Bible studies every Friday nights, and there's also a women's prayer group on Saturday nights as well.
Very nice. There are also, I go to St. Thomas Episcopal Church in between, over on that side of campus.
Right, yeah.
So if you want to get involved with a race-specific community or Christian community, we have that. And then we also have other Christian communities. Right. There's Christian Impact, which is a group, Christian Union.
Right, or Aquinas House.
The Aquinas House, which is affiliated with the Catholic Church. And then I go to the Episcopal Church. And then there's also a church that meets down at the Hanover High School. So there are definitely
there's tons of churches,
lots of worship opportunities if you're interested in any kind of worship experience. There's definitely that to be had here. But that's a really great question. So, Aaron, what kind of opportunities have you taken advantage of at Dartmouth?
Well, one of my favorite things to do, I mean, academically speaking, it's like getting to know my professors, because that's something I'd love to do someday in the future, right? I had my Cornell West hair going on, but I got so, emulation, right? And it's just to get to know sort of the deep questions that they ask is really inspiring. But also, let's see. I mean, I didn't personally like apply to the FSPs, but I know that's like a huge part of campus life. Other parts, just getting involved, with college governing board, or it's just, I like to keep my sort of activities low, to be honest.
That's important.
Like because it's about balance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely let you know. Like there's plenty of things you can do on campus, but just always keep in mind balance.
Yes.
And you want to be healthy about that.
That's a really good point. Camille asks, what aspect of Dartmouth's curriculum do you like most? I think they want to know about the AAAS department.
Yeah, I think that's
a really great question.
Well, right now I'm actually taking a class in the AAAS department, crossed over with anthropology, so it's contemporary Africa. I'm just looking forward to that class. It's been very interesting. We've only been in class 3 days so far, but I don't know that much about Africa's current situation now, and so I'm just looking forward to learning about the different social and economic aspects.
Yeah. Is that your first AAAS
Yes,
course?
it's my first AAAS.
I took one last spring with Professor Rena Gold III, who oddly enough just happened to be from St. Louis, which is where my mother grew up, where my grandparents live, and went to the same church as my grandfather played the organ at, when she was growing up. So my grandmother knew her, and she knew my grandmother. There was this weird Dartmouth connection. But she taught this wonderful course last spring called Slavery and Emancipation in Latin America and the Caribbean, which was so interesting for me because I feel like it was kind of a different take on history of slavery, because I feel like, especially here, we always kind of focus on our internal history of slavery. But the most of the slaves that came over from Africa or that were taken from Africa didn't come here. I think only 2% or something of all the slaves came to America, which is what I learned in this class. And so we were focusing on the Latin American countries that dealt with slavery. So that was a really cool class. That's a really great department, the AAAS department, which is African and African American Studies. Right. And then what did you guys say your majors are?
Engineering with a minor in anthropology.
Okay.
And English with a minor in education.
Okay.
And just one thing to comment on is about the breadth of the curriculum here. Sort of just so many course offerings. And geography, you can learn how humans map space and sort of how that provides identity, right? Or just basic literature classes. I've taken African American literature in the AAAS department, and that's been a phenomenal experience for me. But you know, it's just even within sort of your normal topics like economics, you can learn about development economics, and it's just so I would really like encourage once you get here to really explore the course offerings and get to know what you're interested in and things like that. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm in the linguistics class right now, and I've never heard really know what linguistics is until now. So just putting yourself out there to branch out.
Yeah, that's great. And you were talking about the Women in Science program. Are you doing engineering sciences through that as well, or are you doing that?
The Women in Science program, which is, we call it WISP here, all of the women in science can get involved in it, but people apply for internships. So during fall term, they come out with a list of internships in all the different departments in math and science, and even psychology as well. And you apply, you set up interviews with those sponsors, and then you get matched with somebody.
Yeah, so you want to tell us a little bit about your project?
Okay, so my project, I actually work for CREL, which is Cold Regions Research Engineering Lab, and it's actually a branch of the Army, so it's actually 7 minutes like off campus. I take the bus there, and I'm working with snowmelt and runoff, and right now I'm doing a lot of data gathering and seeing how that will eventually affect like flood levels and so forth.
Very nice. So I feel like the reason I asked was just because I think it's important to understand how these experiences affect your academic experience, can affect your extracurricular, or it can be like co-curricular. So how has your experience as a woman in engineering been, and what type of engineering are you concentrating in?
Okay, well, since I'm only a freshman, I'm not exactly sure yet, but right now I'm just taking prereqs, so I've been taking Math 3, Math 8, Math 13, which is just calculus, but people come in with all different types of levels of experience, so some people are already taking upper level engineering classes, but right now I'm thinking of going into chemical engineering.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Have you felt support from the department and the engineering sciences department in terms of professors?
Definitely. You can easily go up and talk to somebody, and my advisor given to me by the school is actually in the engineering department.
I'm belaboring the engineering department for those of you who are not interested, only just because the engineering sciences department at Dartmouth is one of the strongest, arguably, departments that we have here. And I think part of that is because it's paired up with the Thayer School of Engineering, which is one of our 3 graduate schools. We don't have many, we only have 3. Thayer, the Tuck School of Business, and the Dartmouth Med School, and then there are other graduate programs. But Thayer has this wonderful opportunity where, as an undergraduate, you can major in engineering sciences and either get a bachelor's degree in engineering, or a Bachelor of Arts degree
in engineering sciences or Bachelor's of Engineering.
Right, and the Bachelor's of Engineering program can be either a 4 or a 5-year program. So that's a really great opportunity that a lot of other schools don't offer. A lot of other schools you would have to be a graduate student to use the resources. And the other thing is that the engineering sciences department is so well funded. There's just like so many great research tools and so many wonderful professors who are really at the forefront of their field doing who need that kind of research support from undergraduate students.
Definitely. I have about 4 or 5 friends who work in the labs over there.
Oh, yeah. It's a great way to get work study or to do like co-curricular or extracurricular stuff. I'm not in any way science or math affiliated, but fortunately we have these distributive requirements that make you kind of go out of your comfort zone. And so last term I took integrated architecture and design with Vicki May, and who in the engineering sciences department, and Jack Wilson in the studio art department was actually co-taught. And Vicki May is like a goddess in the engineering sciences department. Everyone loves her because she's so nice and she's so sweet, and she's so smart. You know, she just like is really good at taking these very, very difficult concepts and making them so easy to understand. And then just because, so like I had the access to the building, so I was there, I could study there, or I could use the print resources. I could get the free coffee. You know, they have all these wonderful like free resources down there because it's so well funded. So that's a really good thing to look into. So one thing I want to make sure we talk about in this chat is the advising resources here at Dartmouth, because there are definitely a lot. I think that's one of the things that made the transition easier for me, was that all of the deans and the, you know, even all the way down to the UGAs, the DOSCs, the community directors, all those people, you know, there's so many safety nets, so it's almost impossible to fall through the cracks, you know, of the big system unless you're like really trying hard to fly off under the radar. So let's go ahead and kind of break that down. Let's break down those UGAs, DOSCs, all those letters that I just mentioned. Do you want to, either of you want to talk about your experiences with advising?
Right. I mean, would you,
Okay, well, since I'm a freshman, I could talk a little bit about that. So UGA is your undergraduate advisor who lives with you on your freshman floor. And fall term, you have weekly meetings, and they just try to get you to adjust to the Dartmouth culture and provide you with different resources about what's going on campus and what you should look forward to. And they're also a resource, a personal resource, if you ever need to talk to somebody about personal problems or you're having trouble with a roommate or floor mate and so forth. Yeah,
that's very nice. The first year residential experience is part of what makes Dartmouth unique. You kind of have to have these weekly floor meetings, which really bring you close together with the people that you're living with. And a lot of people actually will say that their freshman year floor mates are their best friends throughout Dartmouth. I'm living in an off-campus house next year with a bunch of people who lived on my freshman floor, with one exception. He's the lone wolf. So. But, you know, it is what it is. But so I think the freshman year experience is really important. So do you want to talk about your experience with advising?
Right. I had I was fortunate to have a professor in the English department advise me in terms of like academic planning and whatnot, and to have someone who knew the department and knew the topic and sort of like, you know, tease out what your interests really were and stuff. I really, you know, enjoyed that. And so that advising here is comprehensive and holistic, right? It's not just about the personal residential, but also about the academic and things. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a really great point. I think for me, my favorite thing about the advising here is that it's, like you said, it is holistic, and they really want to help you. Right. You know, like if you email your dean or if you email the dean of students even, they are going to respond promptly, and they're going to try to do as much as they can to help you out with your situation, you know. And the deans even have office hours, so you can just drop by and talk to them, you know. And deans are really busy people, so that's really great. We also have OPAL, which is the Office of Pluralism and Leadership, and we have an advisor for specifically for the African American students. There are also advisors for the Latino students, Asian American, LGBT, and they do individual advising as well if people are having issues with kind of coming to this new community and you know, living life at Dartmouth compared to like where they were coming from before. So that's great. We have one more question from Kevin G. Can the students discuss their experiences or ideas about fraternities, hazing, and the social scene? And he says, I just want to get an idea for what these students personally feel. That's a great question. I think just speaking about the Greek life at Dartmouth, it's kind of one of those things where like you can either be a part of it or not. We have a great system where you don't rush until your sophomore year if you're going to rush, which I think gives students the opportunity to really create their community. I mean, they have to. You're not going to live for an entire year without friends or like talking to people. So you create your communities, you become friends with who you're friends with, and then if you decide to rush, then it becomes oftentimes it becomes a secondary commitment to like your research or to the things that you're doing outside of class or, you know, your extracurricular opportunities. But do you guys want to speak to your personal experiences?
Okay, well, I'm a freshman, so I can't rush or anything yet, and I don't know if I'm going to. I probably won't. But as far as the frat scene goes, it's either something you can be a part of and like it or not like it. Typically, I only go to the frats for dance parties. That's basically it. But I mean, there's some people who go to chill there, and that's something they like to do all the time. But it's just a personal thing, and you have to figure that out once you get here, what's right for you.
Yeah.
I mean, as a sophomore, I did have the opportunity to rush. You know, and I went to a couple meetings, and they seemed like a great group of people. And, you know, I just sort of thought about it, and I was like, it's not my scene. And that they were open to that, and, you know, they were cool with that. I really appreciated. And so just to emphasize that it's a way you can live or a way you can't, that you could decide not to live. But, you know, it's all your choice. And I've definitely found that myself.
Yeah, it truly is your own thing. I am affiliated, and I've just kind of, I hang out with people in my house and other houses, and I think in regards to the experience with hazing and Greek life at Dartmouth, fortunately I never had that experience, and I think that it's one of those things where if it does happen, there's a dialogue. Again, there's a dialogue about what's going on this campus so that we can try to make it a healthier community. So thanks all of you for your questions. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back in a few minutes for our next chat, and feel free to continue posting questions on the chat, and we'll be back in just shortly. Take care.